Recording. Okay, so what we should do, you should go to master and pull that.
I just did that.
And we need to create another branch called Sakura integration-ast.
There we go.
And now let's go to the AST module. So here's my suggestion, I guess. We make a Sakura module in here, and then the Sakura module will contain the type stuff, the base type and the type T that we're gonna import into the other modules to integrate them together. What do you say?
Sounds reasonable. Let me think for a second. We need to import it in. Well, it needs access to expert. We know that,
Yeah, it's definitely we're gonna use most of that stuff, if not all of it.
and it needs to
Actually, if you
go
think
in.
about it, maybe it is just expert actually.
Not quite.
I think actually quite. Because all of the base types for parser clause and clause are actually, we're not gonna do them right now. At least that was my original plan, to not do them right now. Because we're gonna make directives for Sakura, that's for sure. We already settled on that. But for
Yeah.
only for the incremental retrieval, we only need a functors. We only need functors actually. We're not gonna have declarations. We're not gonna have query conjunctions. We're not gonna have directives. Which means that a functor is essentially an expression. Well, not a functor. A Sakura thing is essentially an expression with the capability of having a tag on it, a net, a synthetical element to differentiate. So in my opinion, we can just use an XPR and call it a day.
Well, in that case, we actually don't need to touch the AST at all.
No, we do, because we need to be able to pass the information that it is a Sakura thing. So there must be a Sakura tag somewhere.
Hmm.
And I think I got
Okay.
it. The
Give me
proposal.
a moment. If we, where do we have? We had a bunch of examples of that, didn't we?
No, only a
Somewhere
database. And I think
here.
there's only a single example.
Um, okay, what happens if we do this? Or rather, what's supposed to happen, right?
Um,
Like, is this valid? Can I put a net sign here?
no, because those are just atoms in the EQ.
So this is not in fact an expression.
No. The only Sakura things that the only Sakura thing I was planning to support for incremental retrieval is a predicate call in a declaration body. That's it.
That means we need to change this, right?
Yeah, only the body even.
Hmm. Actually, since we're going the module route, do we actually need a separate syntax to do Sakura calls?
Yes, of course, because the module route is only for the purpose of defining things, not for using them. For using
No,
them,
but
go on.
no, but I mean, can't we just tell that this is supposed to be Sakura stuff because it will be defined inside of some like I don't know, DB numerics or whatever module that is Sakura declaration.
I see. I see what you're saying. Okay, so if you have a module inside a schema, then we know it's a Sakura thing. And if that's the case, that module is 100% sure to be Sakura stuff. I guess we could. It's a little bit how should I say? There is a syntactical disadvantage in my opinion because now I cannot tell that this is using the database just by looking at it. But it is more consistent, I should say, as well. And there's also the problem that to discover that this is using the database, I now have to check module by module, which is kind of annoying.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it is just a convenience advantage, maybe, right? Because now we're not going to have the ats in definitions anymore because we settle on the modules. And for information retrieval, I guess we could also do the same strategy of just using the modules, and then you have to figure out yourself that this is using the database.
Um. I mean, if you really want a sigil, we could just make it a convention, but like strictly speaking, we don't need it, and not having this, it prevents us from having to figure out what it means to have a net sign, if it means something at all, to have a net sign in expression position, right?
No, it's because I was not planning on having ats out in like vanilla functors as data structures. I was only planning to have them in predicate calls. Um, okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, this is harder to implement from the compiler's developer's perspective, right? Because if we go with the module route, we have to do some checks to understand if this is actually a Sakura or not.
Do we?
Yeah, of course, because a module is only Sakura related if it is inside a schema directive. Do you still have the document? Like, we wrote this somewhere before. I don't remember where we saved it, though. Um,
Uh,
yeah, there it is. Yeah, so if you go all the way up, we created a directive to talk about this, which is called the schema directive. Um, so to notice that the ink relation is a Sakura thing, we're going to have to see if the module that you're using is inside a schema.
we could differentiate Sakura modules from Karuta modules at the inside of the compiler after we process the directive. Like,
Yeah, no,
although
sure.
that
That is exactly what I'm talking about. That is completely doable, just harder than just having a syntactical element to tell us right away.
is it really though?
Of course it is. Because if you have the tag, you already know that you should talk to Sakura immediately.
But aren't we going to do that talking to Sakura when we compile the actual query?
When we compile the actual query. Yeah, no, but we need to know what to compile.
It's just a predicate call, no? We can make the predicate when we define it inside of a schema. We can make it be um, like we can encapsulate the fact that it talks to the database inside of its implementation, and then we don't have to care about it. It's just a regular predicate after that. Although that does mean we will need to take some care later when we allow you to have transactions and being able to deal with multiple database values at once if we ever
No,
do
but
that.
yeah, but I'm still also confused about what you said. Nothing forbids me from creating a module with the same name and you making a relation and a predicate with a declaration with the same name as well. So how do you
Um,
know if it's
actually,
a
there
Karuta
is
program or a Sakura program?
actually if we allow that, then that would mean that we're now back in the territory where there are separate namespaces depending on what kind of compile time thing we have, and I was assuming we didn't want that, right?
What? No, I don't understand. Again, if you have a module with a particular name and a particular predicate declaration in there, you cannot make the same module with the same name with the same predicate inside. The only way to do that is to nest another module on top of on the second one to make it different. We're doing the
Yeah.
same with having the schema. The schema is functioning the same as that
Well,
for us.
yes, but then the question is, do you allow a schema and a module to have the same name? I would argue that no, we shouldn't.
I would argue that no as well.
Then what's the problem?
Um, it's not a problem. That's what I'm trying to highlight. It's just harder.
Is it?
For us as compiler developers, it is because there are more moving parts to check in comparison to just have a tag.
Well, if we had a tag, wouldn't we have to check that the tag, the named thing that after the tag is in fact a Karuta, a Sakura definition?
Wait, could you repeat the question? I was reading Mageta's message.
Like if we did have the tag, like the @ sign, wouldn't
Yeah.
we have to check anyways if the thing that we're calling there is in fact defined in Sakura in a schema somewhere?
Well, it depends. That's actually a good question because here's the thing. Right now, we don't have a notion of. We're not going to implement the the definition of a relation in the database. We have in the prototype, we made it happen with the Sakura persisted thing that the cursor is right now, but we're not going to have that for incremental retrieval. So I was under the assumption that we're going to implement this feature assuming Sakura has the relation. And then that's going to be our demo, essentially. We're going to run a program, which is a server in Sakura, that has a couple of established relations between us and Mageta. And then we're going to make a program that fetches information from there. That was what I was working with. If you want to go the correct route, then we have a couple of problems because first, theoretically, we should check if the relation exists here first in Karuta. If the person relation exists in the definition, and if it has the Sakura persisted tag, or not tag, but it's marked as persisted, whatever that means. Um, then the second check is to see if the runtime, if Sakura also has it, and then we're gonna have to do some sort of a handshake, and then we're gonna fetch information out of it. You see?
Mm, well, we can actually sidestep that handshake problem because if we have a schema defined in a Karuta program, we would have to transact the schema into the database, right?
Yeah, that's actually another third kind of problem, which is what happens when we do like you already have a database in production. Imagine that you want to do migrations. We need to talk about what we're going to do because having a migration means that there is a relation persisted already, but we are redefining its definition here in Karuta. How are we going to update Sakura? I have no idea. But this is way in the future. Is when you have already like we're not gonna run Sakura as a program. We're gonna run it as a database in the future, right? Right now, I'm not under that assumption. I'm assuming Sakura is a program only, which means that I can redefine the data that's gonna be persisted every time I do a run. which means I don't have to do migrations. That is kind of what I'm assuming for the demo, at least for this year, right? That's because we have so many things to implement, even under this simple assumption. Anyway, what do you want to do? Because here's the thing: if we go with your idea of just have no syntax at all, which I think it's a good idea, even though it's harder to implement, because at the end of the day, the burden on us is fine. We only care about the burden on the programmer anyway. The inconvenience of not being able to tell if something is from Sakura or not is not that big. But then we have to discuss if a schema is a module or not. I already talked to you about this. That in the prototype, we are assuming users schema is going to be working as a module. So you're going to be doing users column, people column, person. You're going to do all of that nesting. But a schema being a module is a little bit inconsistent in my opinion because it doesn't work like one. It cannot have a signature, for example. So
Well,
should it
that's
be
why
a
it's a
module?
schema. Well, that's why it's a schema, the directive. But I mean, it can produce a module after you compile it. That's not an issue, I don't think.
I don't think it should produce a module. This is just a namespacing trick. And by the way, a schema is exactly what a schema is in
But
Postgres.
it needs to be a module because otherwise, how are we going to dereference the references to calls inside of the schema? Like if I want to look up, I don't know, a user in the database.
No, we need to put users as a prefix in the naming for persistence.
Yeah, because like I'm assuming that if we compile the schema eventually in the future, we don't have that right now, right? But like this predicate here, this definition here, um, is going to generate a predicate on the Karuta side that knows how to talk to Sakura to do this lookup, right? Well, not this one because this is not actually this one, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. No, we can persist the schema. But if that's the case, then there is absolutely no AST to be changed because, well, actually there is one thing. Oh no, this prototype is using the old version, right? So we didn't save the one that you made last, Marin, apparently, because you
Hmm.
made a version that will re-signify the tags as also directives, right? So the Sakura ephemeral, instead of having column column, that is only another directive that we're gonna call Sakura, and then the name of the and the first argument is what kind of Sakura behavior do you want? Do you want persistent? Do you want ephemeral? Um, yeah, so for some reason we didn't save that version of the discussion, but I think we should do that instead.
Yeah,
And
no,
if that, go on.
we're doing that, yes, for sure.
Okay, if that's the case though, we don't have any. Well, we're not gonna do the TTL right now or the TCL or whatever, which is the transaction stuff. The transaction stuff probably will introduce syntax because I was using the semicolon to make that happen, inspired by your unfold implementation the other day. But we don't have semicolon.
Yeah, we don't have or as a thing separate from predicate definitions. In order to get an or, you actually have to make a predicate with multiple heads.
That's completely
Uh,
fine. Well, actually, I don't know how we're gonna pull. No, actually,
um,
I do know, but we can.
that's pretty easy to implement now, though, since we're using microcondenling instead of Prolog. We don't have to worry about the how to encode an OR in the WAM. We can just use a disjunction from microcondenling. Like we can just do that.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, so but we're not gonna do this anyway. Transactions is something that like I don't even know if this is a
Uh,
2026 feature.
yeah, no,
Uh,
that's later.
yeah. So what we can do then is to rename the branch, unfortunately, because it's not gonna be AST because we already have all the nodes to make this happen. We would have to do something like directives.
Directive? Yeah.
Uh, but that seems like a little bit of a big commitment because there's so many directives. So do
Let's just
we
say
have a
queries
choice?
because that's what we're implementing first, right?
Well, it depends. Uh, Actually, does this depend? No. What do we need? Schema and persisted. That's it.
And we don't even need to do a full schema. We just need to be able to say, okay, there's a schema called users, and that will become a module, and it can have predicates inside of it,
Yeah,
basically.
no, but I think we should do the schema directive in this PR as well because this is like a foundational thing. We need schema to make everything happen.
No, 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 no. I mean, yes, we do need the schema directive, but we don't need to implement it fully, you see?
What do you mean by fully? What are we not going to be implementing?
I'm pretty sure we're not gonna have signatures at the moment, are we?
Of course we are. This signature is about the module below, which means we already have it.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a signature explicitly, do you?
Well, if you want to expose the relations in the body of the module, only some of them and not all of them. The semantics of signature and module, Marinho, is exactly the same as normal. The schema being inside a schema directive only means there's only one meaning of that. Actually, two. Everything here needs to be prefixed by the name of the schema, so in this case users. And second of all, you will only be able to call Sakura directives inside of the module implementation if you are inside of a schema. That's it. It's a boolean.
It's a freaking boolean, of course.
Those are the only two differences the schema provides us
Well, I
from a Karuta
guess.
perspective. For Sakura, it matters because Magette actually has schemas in there.
Yeah, at some point we will have to integrate with that, but we don't need to do it right
Exactly.
away.
We don't need to do schema integration right now.
Okay, let's just do the least amount we need in schemas to do queries.
Yeah, so it's
And
essentially Sakura persisted and schema. That's it.
okay. So
We should start by schema. Actually, we should start by going to the compiler and understanding what are the state information that you're gonna have to add to the compiler to hold Sakura stuff.
it's not much actually.
A
We need to
boolean
go to
and a,
the
and a schema name.
a boolean. Do we really need a boolean though? Can't we just make another?
No, you can just use a maybe because you can just do an option of a string for the schema name, and then if you have a schema name, um, well, actually no, maybe I lied because you are compiling multiple things. You need to know that you are inside of the schema at that moment of the compilation to check if you can actually call Sakura stuff. So there's a little bit of a temporal thing.
Hmm. Right. I guess if we go to compiler types, actually just compiler, right?
I
Compiler.
think it is just types.
Hmm. There we go.
So it's the
Uh,
T type. The T type. Um, we need to put something in here that allows us to know we are inside of a schema. In my opinion, a maybe should do. But we need to remember to reset it every time we are done with the schema. We need to reset it to none again.
okay, let me think for a moment. First of all, we probably need to annotate the modules then, because whether or not they are usable inside of a Sakura module depends on whether they are themselves Sakura modules, right?
Wait, repeat the question.
Like if I'm defining a schema, that's a
Yes.
module that's usable to talk to Sakura, right?
Yes.
So whether or not I can use something from there in Sakura predicate depends on whether the thing that I'm trying to use is itself a Sakura predicate, right?
Also, yes.
Which means we need to be able to tell, okay, is this module a Sakura module or not,
Well, but we're gonna
right?
do that by doing the lookup, right? So we need an environment of schemas, essentially.
That that doesn't quite. I mean,
Because if you're using inside of a Sakura predicate declaration, and you're using another Sakura predicate, you need to do a lookup. You're gonna do a lookup where? There are only two options. You are either gonna go through all of the other schemas defined in Karuta, or you're gonna go to
no, we
Sakura and
can
ask Sakura itself.
no, we can just use the like we have modules. We can just use whatever we use for modules. No.
I guess it depends on how far you want to make a schema a module. How that's gonna be? Is just syntax sugar? Like, what are we talking?
I'm thinking.
Well, not syntax sugar, I should say, because it has different semantics. It is like 99% a module, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking. What if we do something like I don't know. Uh, this is a boolean. This is basically just a flag saying, okay, this module is defined in the context of a Sakura definition. So like it could be as actually we need to be able to tell apart schemas from nested. Actually, I guess a module nested inside of a schema is itself a schema, no?
No. A schema in the semantics of schema that Margareta is using is exactly the same as a Postgres schema, which means it is only a namespace. Like there's no notion of signature, there's no notion of functor. It is literally a namespace.
So it's basically a plain structure,
Yeah, exactly.
which is a module. It's a special case of a module, but it's still a module.
No, it is a special case of a module, but because it's so bare bones simpler, I think we don't need to go all the way in the implementation side of making it a module out of it.
That's not doing that sounds harder actually.
Well, it's just saving a name. Like it seems so much easier to save a name.
But we will need to be able to do name resolution, no? Why not just reuse the existing machinery for that?
You mean when you say name resolution, you mean the lookups.
Yeah, if I want to do users colon whatever, I need to be able to do a lookup inside of that, right?
Um, how can I say? I'm gonna say yes. You need the machinery to do the lookups, but I don't think that means going all the way to a module because, for example, there is no notion of hidden definitions. There is no notion of that at all because there's no notion of a signature to ascribe to.
So what? We can just do a module that doesn't have any hidden definitions.
I guess. I guess given okay, that sounds a little bit hacky because we are kind of like
It
making it.
isn't. We already have that, Lemos, in regular modules. If you do module whatever and you don't give it a signature, there are no hidden definitions, right?
Okay, I guess I need to concede because the boolean is the only really required information. We can make it happen with everything else. I just have a feeling that it sounds overkill to have all of this structure for something that is so much simpler. Or it's always going to be simpler. Your example is that, oh, a module can also be that simple. Yeah, but it can. It's not always. A schema, it will always be that.
And that's why it's a different directive.
Well, yes, but we are also exploiting the similarities to the point of trying to make the like in the types being chosen. So um, I guess that's okay. We still need the name, which we're not saving anywhere yet. Um yeah.
Mm,
Well, I guess in your system the name is also inside the system of the namespace of signatures and modules, isn't it?
it is.
Which
We
means
already
that
have
the
machine.
name is saved.
We already have machinery for all that. That's just my point. Why not just reuse it? We have it.
Okay. Um, so let's just now write the directive then.
Okay, let's try that out. Did I not do a dune build?
You need to put Sakura to false in a couple of places probably.
Oh yeah, right, because I just added a new field, that's true. Sakura equals false.
Oh, maybe this should come as an argument. We're gonna see later. Okay, there's something wrong in line 150 of the signature compiler. Yeah, this is also missing a false.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go to the
Uh,
directive.ml and let's put schema there.
hmm. Actually, there's a slight problem. Schemas are global on the Sakura side, right?
Schemas are global on Sakura. They cannot be nested. Well, they cannot be. Um, they cannot have a parent in here as well. Well,
That doesn't map.
well, actually, there's a slight problem with that. A schema always have a parent because a file is a module. So there's a slight problem with that.
No, that's, well.
Schemas are global, as you said, but in ours they are automatically not because they live in a file.
I mean, we would be able to define a schema inside of a module regardless, right?
Yeah. That we also need to forbid that.
Hmm.
Like there's only one level that a schema directive can be, which is directly on the top level of a file.
I don't like that special case, to be honest.
Yeah, it
Hello,
sucks. Hello Ace. Yeah, it sucks
Hello.
ass.
I love Lemos is like just one more special case.
No, I'm not
Don't worry.
defending this special case. I'm
I'm sorry. I
explaining
know. I know.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm making a joke at your expense, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I guess if we want to be fully consistent, actually we do need a registry of um, we do need a global registry of schema names because they are global on the Sakura side, but they are not global on the Karuta side. But we do need to prevent collisions globally.
It's essentially a collision of abstractions. Our modules slash signatures they are global in the sense that if you have a module with a particular name in a particular nesting level, it is unique. But for Sakura, their functionality to be able to do something similar is the schemas. So that's why we need to do some. Well, we would have to do some special cases in our side to make that happen.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess let's get rid of the boolean then, because since we will need to be able to
39.
like 39. Yeah, because since we need to be able to know if a given schema name is already taken globally, there's no need for this. Actually,
Okay, I have a proposal. Um, there is a very easy way to make it, which is like we make another ADT that we're gonna have a tag called Karuta, which has a compiled module, and then we're gonna have a tag called Sakura for the global stuff. And then we can just swap in line 54 with the new type.
Mm, is
We are
that
gonna give
better?
you. We would have to give up a little bit of the machinery probably, because now many other places would break. But
Hmm. I guess. I guess we would have to do something like. Hmm. Okay, that's kind of tricky now that I'm thinking about it.
well, we either do what I said, which is to unify compiled module and something else in a single environment to be able to have the single environment, or we create a particular Sakura env in the compiler,
Hmm.
which doesn't follow the rules of nesting. So we're gonna have to re-implement that.
Yeah, I don't like either of those now that I'm thinking about it, to be honest.
I don't have any other ones. Which ones do you have?
Hmm. Okay, let me think for a second and let me go to a scratch buffer. Okay, so basically, if we have a schema called whatever, and it doesn't matter what it is, let's put dots here, and I try to do a module saying A that has another schema that is called, let's say, nonsense. And again, the bodies doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. My understanding is that a schema directive can only be on the top level of a file. Everything else is prohibited.
that's inconsistent with the fact that we are treating the top level of a file as a module body.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But I don't see another way to make it a one-to-one correspondence with Sakura.
There is, if there is. Okay, what do we need to know here? Hmm.
Actually, I would say that allowing it to nest further is more confusing because it's global. You think nonsense is protected by A, but it isn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, databases are inherently global mutable state.
Yeah. Um so, well, actually, in particular Ace, it's because Magenta is also using the notion of schemas as Postgres schemas, which is just a bucket of things. And it is a global
Hmm.
bucket of things.
Yeah, I mean, my just because I just came in this discussion, so obviously this is going to be my totally uninformed opinion.
Yeah, sure.
I would just not, I would just not fight it. Like I said, databases are global mutable state. You just, these things are global.
Yeah.
You shouldn't try
No,
to
no,
like
no.
hide
The
them or
discussion here is more like Marino wants to make a balance between implementation machinery because we're gonna have to have a lookup system anyway because this is a namespace type of thing. So we want to be able to reuse the lookup system we made for modules. However, because it's going to be treated as a module to make the machinery work, then it has nesting properties that must be prohibited because it's not a full-blown ML module. It's a schema, which, as you said, is global. And then
yeah,
the nesting properties cannot be applied, which makes it inconsistent. In special cases, starts to blow up.
right, right.
So that's what Marinho
I
is
mean,
thinking right now.
what if I mean you can do nesting and that's a syntactic and compile time only thing, but the schemas are lifted out.
Yeah, but then the semantics are confusing.
They are, yeah.
I was thinking of doing something like that, but that creates a new problem, which is the modules are no longer fully modular if we do that.
Right, right.
Because like if we go that route and we do something like this, right?
Mariano, are you talking?
Yeah, if you're talking, you are not saying anything.
Yeah, your mic broke up.
Hey, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. I thought it was just
Yeah,
me.
me too for a second. But he went all statically for a second, and then suddenly we can't hear him. I don't think he can hear us.
Oh, maybe he's explaining many things now. That's very sad. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
ping. We cannot hear you, bro.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
I think
wait,
I think
My
he's
you're back?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like my headset went silent for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay, but
okay.
now you're back. We didn't hear anything you said though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, basically, the problem we would be creating here is this name, which is inside of this module, would make these two modules collide because this nonsense is supposed to be a global name because it's a schema, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Which means the implementation of a module is no longer fully hidden anymore if we go this
Right.
route.
Yeah. I have a thing though, because you said that one of the points that you brought up is that you want to treat a schema as a module because then we can reuse the lookup machinery. Do we really need to do that? Because the lookup machinery is very self-contained. If you respect the types of the functions, you're gonna have a lookup system easily. We don't have to have the full like we're gonna have to re-implement some portions of it, but we have a full lookup system completely like isolated. The only premises are the types. If you follow the types, you are good to go.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's true.
So like even if we make, well, we're gonna have to treat the special case of schemas being able to only to be the top level of a file, which in this case a file is a module, unfortunately. But then we just treat that, and then the lookup system is just calling the lookup module. So like, I understand there are probably gonna be some code duplication doing that, but man, allowing it to nest is not only problematic for what you just said, but is also understanding it as a programmer. I think it's worse because what does it mean to have a nested schema in a module? I don't know.
Hmm. I'm starting to think that maybe schemas shouldn't be inside of your main program like at all.
But you need to say we need to put stuff, define stuff under a schema.
Well, yes, but like this should be because like the semantics of this thing are basically completely, well,
Wait,
almost
wait, wait,
completely
wait.
different.
I had an idea. Go to the org file. Yeah, I had an idea. Well, it still suffers from the problem of nesting, but if you go to line 50, we can put
950.
an argument in here, which is an atom called the schema, which is going to turn the people module not only a Karuta entity, but also there must be a people schema um, in Sakura, and then we can drop the directive altogether.
That doesn't fix the problem.
That does fix one problem, which is that now a module and a schema is a module because it's inside of a module directive. It's part of it. It's a property of it.
Yeah, that doesn't solve the problem because you still have the issue of okay, um, this definition is like global.
No, yeah, I preempted what I said by saying that this doesn't fix the nest problem, but it fixes the introduction of the directive.
The introduction of the directive is not really the issue, Lemus.
No, I understand, That is not a big issue because we can convert any directive to a module anyway. But I think it's better to have to not have to create a new directive for that if we can.
I think that's worse.
You think it's worse?
I
And I
think it's
complained
worse
about
because
this
a
before,
schema.
that the people module has no meaning in Sakura. And that bothers the shit out of me. The Sakura only cares about line 42 and line 52 onwards. It doesn't care about anything else.
Well,
And that
it
bothers me.
doesn't have to be. Well, it doesn't have to be that way.
No, yeah, but the way, like, Magetta suggested to do it like this because this also allows us to specify that, hey, I want these relations from Sakura to be exposed via the signature to the program. Like, we are still connecting, like, there's a little bit of a chemistry between Karuta and Sakura. And that's okay. But what I don't like is because for Sakura, people is nothing. There's no people. There's only users. And then person. The middle ground abstraction is only for Karuta. There's no meaning of that um, in Sakura. And I wanted to do something about that. And putting the schema as a property of the module kind of fixes that for me a little bit. But anyway, I agree it's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal is the global scoping. I understand.
Mm, yeah, I'm almost thinking that the schema definitions would be better if they were actually outside of your Karuta program.
The schema definitions would be outside of your Karuta program. I don't understand what you mean by that.
Because, like, okay, we have the problem that a schema is global, so we actually don't want to allow a schema inside of a module because that breaks the abstraction of the module, right?
Yeah.
But a file is also a module, so by that logic, you shouldn't be able to put a schema in a Karuta file, right?
No, I think that's a little bit too radical. I would special case that, but that's correct. Pedantically, it is
So,
inconsistent.
so the logical conclusion is that this shouldn't be in a Karuta file at all. This should be in another type of file.
Um, so maybe I could give a bit of a suggestion. So this actually seems very similar to the exact problem that Urweb faced. I don't know if you guys ever used Urweb.
I haven't.
I only heard of it.
Oh, so I'm on the front page of Urweb. I contributed to the project, like some tutorials and stuff. So Urweb has the same thing where you can define tables inside of modules, and you know it's like statically typed, and it has like ML style modules with functors and everything you'd want. Um, so maybe an interesting position on this would be to take like a page out of what Urweb does. Uh, so what Urweb does, yeah, go to impredicative, yeah, and then go to the documentation, and then hey, there's my name, Urweb tutorial video. Uh, anyway, go to the main demo, tutorial style with code.
Uh, which one?
Online
This one.
demos, online demos, tutorial style with code.
No, the first one. The online demo is the first bullet point, Mari.
Yeah, perfect. And then
Actually, okay, this is not made to be. This layout is kind of weird, but okay.
oh yeah, it's made by an academic. What do you expect?
Classic. Classic.
So I think the chat application at the bottom is like actually there's a lot of cool stuff in this, like the metaform stuff, but I think the chat application at the bottom is the most interesting one because it spreads a number of tables. So you see there's like the broadcast.ers, broadcast.er, buffer.ers, but buffer.er. You see in the middle under
Alright.
the break. Yeah. So what you'll see, oh my gosh, that's weird rendering on some of those. Is that it will like you could like I said, you can define table schemas in line with the code. Um,
No, but
and
that's
so how
exactly the problem is. What we've been discussing for the past hour is an attempt to try to do that, but it seems that doing so breaks the semantics of our stuff
I
because
know.
it's
I'm what
broken.
I'm getting. Well, let me get so how Urweb handles this tension is that it prefixes the table name with the module name. So like the actual table, so say you have like module A dot table one and you have module B dot table two, in the SQL, it literally types out like module A underscore table one and then module B underscore table two or table one. And so you can have like, two versions of
Ah,
it.
okay, okay, I see. So you kind of create a fictitious module called, I don't know, DB, and then everything that is a schema goes under that umbrella. All the table
That's not.
definitions.
I don't think that's quite it. But does this approach work for us? Well,
Yeah. I'm just saying, just throwing ideas out there.
I don't know. I'm growing to be a fan of having a different file with a different extension with different rules. Because here's the thing, here's the catch. If we make that happen, we don't need the schema directive. The name of the file is the schema. Yeah. And then everything there is just a bunch of modules like Karuta.
um,
Like it's the most consistent way of doing that.
right. So we should probably then make the Karuta compiler check the file name extension.
Yeah, if it's skr, then it doesn't have the semantics of nesting. Well, first, yeah, it doesn't have some of the semantics for nesting.
Right. So what would that look like?
It's going to be exactly the same as a Karuta file with a different extension, man. It has a signature. It has signatures inside. It has modules inside. A file is not a module in this case. It's a schema. That's the only difference.
Right. And
Sorry.
then
I said my mistake. The modules in a skr file can use the Sakura directives. That's also important to mention. That's it.
right, and I'm guessing we would have to do something like when we compile the Carta program that uses the schema, we need to say, okay, this schema will have to correspond to a module with this name, and then we make a shim on the Carta side that lets you hook into the Carta definition, basically. And then when we compile the schema, that will make a bunch of modules, like Bean modules, not Karuta modules, with the queries compiled into the ask calls, right?
Yeah.
And abstracted as functions that you can use as goal constructors, basically.
Yeah. No, yeah, but that would happen anyway. But what are the other consequences of this approach? The first question that I
Uh,
have is, does anything in Karuta doesn't work in this file? Um,
well, inside of a schema, you wouldn't be able to use Karuta anyways, right? Like this
what do
kind
you mean?
of because like inside of a schema, the idea was basically okay, we're defining a bunch of things that look like Karuta, but they are actually talking to Sakura. But the interface, like the surface syntax of calling those things, is the same, and they actually mean very similar things. It's just Like you can't just call arbitrary Karuta code from Sakura, right?
Yeah, I think
That
that in the future that's something we're gonna have to change because that seems a little bit too limiting. If you have a relation that can work as a constraint, the fact that you have to copy paste is kind of trash. And you have because like the thing actually is perfect. Is already the predicate declaration. It's perfect for your constraint. You're gonna have to copy paste that to the Sakura constraint directive, and that kind
well,
of
well, I guess at some point we need to be able to make Sakura run Karuta code, I guess.
well, but at the end of the day, the relational explorer that Magita was developing is going to be using Karuta as the way to interact with it. We
Hmm.
just don't have that integration right now, but it's going to be kind of mutually recursive. Sakura's interface is going to be us, and we are using Sakura. Anyway, going back to the point, I think right now what you said is correct. We will not be able to call arbitrarily Karuta declarations. Uh, um, Even though, like I said, you're going to have to copy paste, there is an argument to be made that constraints by the sublanguage model, they have limitations. They cannot do everything.
Yeah.
So maybe we will not be able to not copy paste. Um, anyway, so I think I like this idea. I'm not saying that what Ace was explaining is bad. Is apparently because apparently I misunderstood. But I think the simplest and most consistent way is to just have a different file
Well,
with
it's
different
okay.
rules.
One of the beautiful things about Haskell type classes is that someone explained the idea to someone else and they misunderstood it and implemented type classes and realized it was better than the original idea.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It came. Yeah, the implementation of type classes came from a misunderstanding. Yeah.
Okay, Marinho, what's your the designer of this thing? What's your take on it?
I think it's better to have the schema as a separate file. But then we need to be able to hook it up into the module namespace that we have going on, right? The nested hierarchy of modules. Um, I'm thinking we do something like, I don't know, like we might still have a schema directive in Carta, but like it just references an existing schema that's actually an external file, right? The problem I have
Um,
with that is I don't want to entangle this with the file system.
well, you don't want to do that.
Ideally, right?
I think I do because here's the thing. I think it fits so much better because what is a schema? It's a bucket of shit. What is a file for us anyway? So why not make that happen?
File's also a
No, I
bucket of shit.
no, I mean, currently you don't have a notion of a file, right? We just have modules. Like we have modules
Yeah,
all
we're
the
not gonna
way.
have a notion of a file either. We're gonna have a notion of a schema and a module.
No, the problem is, okay, how do you reference the, like, how do you know which schema you're talking about? Because I was thinking we would end up with something like, well, we don't have a body here. We
No,
would
the
just
interface is
say,
gonna be the same. The schema is gonna look like a module because you're gonna use the qualifiers as we already do.
yeah, no, yes. The point is, if I say, okay, I want to use the users schema here, and then users would be treated as if it was a module, and it would compile down to calls to whatever we generate from the Sakura integration side.
Yeah,
The problem is, okay, how do we know which file this is supposed to correspond to, you see?
very easy. Is the name of the thing dot skr. That's it.
Okay, so that means if we decide to make a bunch of directories, because right now we're not dealing with directories yet, but if we do, and users is at the top level, and this example here is somewhere deeper down, would we have to do something like this?
Wait, I'm still not understanding. Could you explain what this schema directive is doing? Because my proposal is to kill it. So what is this doing?
This is basically saying, okay, I want to define a module called users, which is actually a reference to some schema that's defined elsewhere in an external file.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's it. The schema directive is just a reference in your case.
Yeah.
Why do we need such a thing? Why can't we just use the module system of, we want to use users? Fine, just do users column, and that's it. And we're gonna figure it out where it is.
Mm,
Right now, that's kind of what I'm assuming we're gonna do for our modules. It's the same thing as in OCaml.
I mean,
Forbidding the open on the top level, right? Remember, there's no opens.
no, there's no opens. That's fine. Um,
Which
that's
means that you
fine.
can only reference a module by using the qualifier.
Hmm. I guess.
No. But you need to be convinced, man, because this is gonna be a big commitment if you make all of this happen. So, do you see any problem with this strategy that's like fundamentally fucked up?
Okay, if I just say users colon whatever here, actually this would need to be inside of a, yeah, this would need to be inside of a query, so like this, right?
Yeah, this is gonna
If I do,
look. Okay, go.
okay, if I do this, and let's suppose that this is a file, there's like no other definition, it's just literally just this query. How do
Yeah.
we know where to look up these users? Because it's not defined locally.
Well, it's we're gonna know because well, the short answer that I'm going to give you is that you already know which directory to look for those files because the project directive is telling you where. So do you remember?
Well, we don't have that yet, though.
Yeah, no, but right now it is the root of the project where we are looking for, or whatever we're going to settle on that. We don't have multiple files as in the CLI, so we never faced this problem before. But my assumption is that right now it's going to be the root of the compiler project. That's where we're going to do the lookups. In the future, when we have the project directive, we're going to have a source field. And in the source field, you're going to be able to say which file path everything is going to be in. That's my plan.
Hmm.
Do you see a problem?
No, I think that should work. I
Okay,
think
so
that
let's
should
just do
work.
it. Okay, so this is actually a good thing because this will mandate us to implement multiple files via the CLI. Awesome.
Um, Before we do that, though, we need to figure out. Okay, the idea here was we wanted to start working on the queries, right?
Yeah.
So that means we would need a way to compile a Sakura definition, right?
Right now, right now,
Like we don't need to, as I said, we don't need to do the full integration with like transacting the schema into the we can just assume that it already exists and just compile the queries themselves for now.
yeah, that's exactly what I think we should do in this PR.
Okay.
Well, but there is still we still need to introduce. What do we need to introduce to make this happen then? We're not going to introduce new syntax. We already settled that. We're going to introduce a new type of file.
We're going
Do
to
we?
introduce a new compiler, basically.
What do you mean by new compiler, man? It's the same machinery with extra directives. A boolean should suffice. Are we in a Sakura
Not.
file or not?
Hmm.
Everything else is the
Okay.
same.
Okay. So,
It's because actually
file.
we need to make the compiler be capable of dealing with multiple files. That's we need to make the pipeline capable of doing that.
Well, because this is a property of the entire file, whether it's Sakura or Karuta, right? We
Yeah.
actually don't need to put any extra information in the module, so this can go away.
I
And this can
think
go away.
I'm a little bit skeptical about that because the compiler needs to know what it is it's compiling as it goes along through the file. Because
Well, then we just put it in
those,
T.
yeah. Oh, okay. So you were just gonna move it to here. Okay. Are you guys still moving to LFA?
Yes, that's kind of why we're doing this right now, because like if we keep implementing runtime things in Erlang, you're just gonna make more work for ourselves. And we're going to ditch, like the only thing missing is like deserialization, right? But the plan is to just use read from LFE because Magetta is using S expressions for the protocol.
Um,
Uh, okay. Sakura equals parent dot
read
Sakura.
data. Um, wait. Um, I think it would be useful if we have the name of the schema saved in the compiler.
If we have the name of, isn't that just the file name?
Yeah, but we don't.
We have the file name already.
Oh, okay, so then
We have the module name. We have the Erlang module name as well, which technically we do need this because we need to generate the queries on the beam. But yeah, we do have the file name.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, now it's just a matter of going to the
This is an
modules
optional.
implementation and doing checks. Like if you are in Sakura, we don't actually care about. Well, no, it's the opposite. If you are in a Sakura true, that means that you have access to Sakura directives, and then that's it.
Hmm. Yeah, basically, we need to treat things differently, I guess. I'm trying to think here for a second. We need to, what is it? Option dot not get value.
What do you want to do?
I want to get the Sakura from the parent, but the parent is optional.
Um, no, this is just a get, isn't it? With a default
Not
value
really,
of being false.
not really, because option get. Um, I'm pretty sure that throws an exception.
There is a default value argument. Why would there be an exception?
Is there? There isn't.
No, there is one of the functions that you were going through LSP that has it. It's not get. I got the name wrong.
It's fold, I think. Oh no, there is value.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
this works. Value all default is v, eval is on v, and default otherwise. Yeah, this is exactly what we want. So value parent false.
Yeah, but it's fmap on the parent because the parent is an optional, and you want to extract the thing.
What's the problem here?
Just do
Oh
a beam
yeah, we
build,
need to
man.
do.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
it is what
okay.
I said, right?
No, it is, yeah. Option F map. Record labels are not functions. That's so annoying.
Yes, that is very annoying.
I guess we just do
You're gonna have to
fun
do a
v.
flip on it, but well, actually, this also works. Yeah, put the option.value in the default inside of the fun, and I think that should be it.
This doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't. It's very sad. Um, I guess we can do this instead, because this is a keyword parameter, so we can do at, and then we do this. Oops. This goes away, and this is parent.
Sure. Okay, so is that it for stuff?
We also need to initialize compiler from nothing, and in that case, we should probably take the flag as a parameter,
We don't
right?
need to. We have the file name, which means you can extract the extension and figure out if it's Sakura or not ourselves.
Initialize persist file name. Persist is.
No,
Oh right, it's
yeah,
the
this is the
the
lambda to be
okay.
able to write to the disk.
Let extension equals file name dot um, extension of file name
Yeah.
in.
And then there's an if it's equal to skr or yeah, that's it. If it's equal to skr or not.
Are we calling initialize nested anywhere else? We are. Is this a problem? Parent.persist and some parent.
Let's put the boolean inside of the parent.
There is no parent in this
Ah,
case
but
though.
there's no parent. I see the problem.
It's Genesis ex nihilo or something like that.
Well, we can remove the tail call of initialize nested and change that ourselves.
I guess there's the option of doing this.
Yeah, which is what I said.
Um, we need to check if the extension is equal to skr, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we have to do. This doesn't work, does it? Because we need to put parentheses here.
There we go.
This removes the dot, right?
Good question. Let me check. File name module OCaml. Module file name. And if I look for extension, yeah.
It keeps the dot.
So just put dot in the comparison. There's another problem we need to do though. Go to the main.ml.
Okay.
Line 22. We need to extend this function to be quadratic and do a Cartesian product.
Quadratic.
Yeah, because right now it's only linear, because it's only a single extension. But I already knew back in the day that, man, we're gonna especially when we made the prologue retrocompatibility. I was like, man, we need to make this support. When we make this support multiple files, I'm gonna fix this function.
Yeah, we need to put
Check extensions. And then
It could be
you,
check extension singular, but this should be a set, right? Instead of a single string.
yeah. And then you need to do probably a fold in there instead of an iter. Well,
Right.
actually, the
Do
double
we?
fold, I should say.
Right. So we need to do.
That's gonna be annoying.
Not really. Bet set dot string dot
Off
of um,
list.
of list
Yeah, annoying. That's what I meant by annoying. Put prolog here as well.
prolog.
Yeah, because our parser allows you to do that, but this check extension will not allow you to run prolog programs.
I guess. And then we do. If the extension is not there, instead we need to do if the bet set dot string dot not any choose
Find.
find first add.
That's very weird.
Hmm.
So bet set string OCaml. There should be a function that does that.
Equal find opt. That's not quite
Oh,
what we
mem.
want. Mem. Okay, so if the extension of the file is not a member of Ext, oops.
I think the order is the
Uh,
opposite. Yeah.
but we need to negate this.
Not.
That's
Not at. Grab the. But we need the. I'm also reporting to the user what are the valid extensions. Yeah, we're gonna have to make a fold here, I believe.
I guess we can do something like let um,
String? Yeah, that works.
bet set. Na 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 na.
It's probably fold.
Takes a
Then the
string,
function,
takes the
then
accumulator. Okay.
yeah, accumulator is the last one. So now comes the lambda, then the set, and then the empty string. Oh, actually, the empty doesn't need to be empty. It can be valid extensions. Cool. Let's do it.
Valid extensions. Yeah, that doesn't quite work because there's no comma here.
What do you mean? I'm talking about the initial accumulator being valid extensions.
Yeah, we need to deal with the fact that if we just do
Trailing
that
commas.
naively, yeah,
Trailing fucking commas. Um, can't we just convert the bet set to a list and use some sort of concat map? Is there concat map for bet set? Let me check.
well, there's union.
Yeah, but we want a fold kind of operation.
Oh, there's elements, I guess. Filter map, find. Oops.
Okay, I found documentation, so let me also check.
Compare subset. Ether. This returns unit. Yeah, that's not what we want.
Mm,
There is this, but this also returns unit.
I don't think that does what we want. We just want a concat map, man. Yeah, I'm starting to think we're gonna have to convert this to a list to do with a concat map. What do we have in the list module again? Module, OCaml. Is there a concat map? Um,
Can I do bat set dot string dot
yeah, there is a
t
concat
here?
map.
About module. Dune. How do I format help? How do I start a repo using Dune?
I don't remember. Okay, so let me check.
Oh yeah, isn't it right there, Utop? Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Man, what I would do, I would just convert to a list and use string.concat. It does exactly what we want.
Um, there's no way to redirect the output of print in OCaml, is there?
Not that I'm aware.
Well, maybe look at the definition of print and just implement
But
like
print is gonna do the effect. We don't want that because we want to use the logger.
No, I know.
No, but Marinho knows as well. That's kind of my problem. This is gonna do the effect as well. We don't want that.
Yeah, but the definition of it might be revealing in terms of like what you might want to actually do.
This takes an output parameter. Yeah, our logger doesn't do that. That's unfortunate.
Well, we could
Actually,
in the future make that happen.
actually, actually, is there a way to do OCaml batteries inner IO, right? Uh,
Now, man, but for now, we can just make it to a list and do the concat. It's very, like, straightforward.
this is just a bunch of JavaScript, doesn't it?
I have no idea.
Let's see, batteries. Um,
Yeah, beta inner IO. I already found it here. What are you looking
there we
for?
go. Batch inner IO output. Is there a way to make an output to a string? That would be great.
Doesn't seem like it.
Oh, bat IO, okay. Out channel, blah blah blah. Input, output, printer. Exception, standard input and output. Write line. Read and read. Really and read. Input, close, write, output. Output. how do I... Here. There we go. Output string. Output string. Okay, we basically need to do this, I guess.
I think that's a very hard way of making the concat, but okay. I guess that's fine. We have a first, which is the valid extensions. We don't have a last, but we have a sep as well.
No, this takes the set as the second, well, that's the final argument.
No, I said sep, not set.
Those are strings though, right?
Yeah, we're gonna pass a first and a sep.
The first would be this, right?
Yeah, that's the first.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we need the last as well. Okay, let's do it. So we do first is this thing. The separator
This
is
comma space.
this thing actually.
Oh, that's why you want
And
to
then
use
the
to put the last there.
last is this.
Yeah, then you need to pass the bet inner IO things. Which there is an extra argument there after the lambda. I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
After the lambda.
Yeah, after passing a function, there is another bet inner IO dot output and then the set.
Takes an output, a function that takes an output and a string and returns a unit. Takes an output and a string. I guess that would be I guess it would be not this one. I guess it would just be uh, not this either.
What are you looking
And
for?
right, I guess. I need a function that takes an output and a string.
And what is the type of the printer there that you were looking for?
Ah, I see. This. Okay, so
Oh, so the end writer may be the one, right? Because it's what are the types that it's using?
A is the
And
second
writer.
argument. So it is in fact and right, I think.
Yeah, and right. Man, we are making a very convoluted fold, but it's. I guess we should learn how to make this. You need to do bet set dot.
Not bet set, this is bet IO dot
Yeah,
right.
that is true.
And in fact, this is just
This can
this.
be at yeah, this can be at reduced.
Okay, we
Um,
write, and
and
then
then
the
there's the
output
output.
is, yeah, the output is going to be bet IO dot output string. And then we do,
You pass the bet
and
set now as the last argument.
then we pass the bet set, which is going to be x.
I don't know if this was worth it, but it is something. What's the problem? What is the output of this?
This is unit to unit. This doesn't in fact return the
So,
string, which means I need to do let out equals this in, this is out, then we do the effect, and then we need to do bet io dot
Ace, you're saying?
bet.io dot
No,
close.
no, Marino was on it.
Oh, okay, so you got it. Okay, it's actually worse than complicating a fold. You're also making an effect. Okay.
Close out. Out. There we go.
Textbook definition of over-engineering, but okay. Um, line 38 is fucked, so please also fix that.
Well,
And I think we should rename the name of this function to check extensions in plural, because extension is singular here.
well, I guess. Check extension.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are capable of actually allowing multiple files, which is great.
Well, not really. Multiple file types, but we still assume you're only passing one file here.
Yeah, we have to go to the command line chain now. So go to the CMD folder, and you're gonna go to compile. Yeah. So line 3, instead of a string, is gonna be a list of strings.
It's going to be a list of strings. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but that's gonna break the shit out of everything. So the file term, we need to fix that. The file term. So how do you do that? I already forgot. Yeah, the combine function is completely fucked. So here's the situation. Here's the situation. How do I do that? I don't remember how to do multiple things. There was an example though. There was an example. CMD liner OCaml example. Yeah, there were some examples that I found. And there was one about lists. So let me check that out. Test. So wait a moment. Ah, it's not this one. This one is a little bit garbage. Yeah, this is overcomplicating the shit. Yeah, I should have saved it. I should have saved that. Shit. Okay, so what we need to do. What we need to do.
Maybe go through your browser history.
I think. Oh wait, I think I found it. Yes, I found it. Okay, thank God. Um, okay, so in that file, line 9, put file terms in plural, first of all. And then the arg info is mandatory. We need to change this string because this is kind of wrong. So mandatory source files, and then you can put in the doc examples in the doc v. I don't know, use comma. And yeah, well, we're gonna make it hidden that you can pass prologue to it.
It's a secret. It's an Easter egg.
It's a secret. Okay, then what we need to do is to change line 13 now. To do
Position
that,
0.
yeah, there won't be positions in this. It's pos all actually. Pos all. And instead of a 0, it needs to be arg.string. This, what should I say? This, now we need to pass the default value. The problem is that this is a required shit. So, does that really matter? Does that really matter? No, but that will allow it to be wrong. And that's the problem. Can you go back? Can you remove the none and put this in brackets?
You mean this?
Yeah, all of that. No, in brackets, not parentheses. Yeah, but that's wrong.
Yeah. So we need to find examples of list arguments. Let me see if I can find a better one. The problem, yeah, tags. Let me see if I can find tags. We need to say that this list cannot be empty, essentially. But I think this example that I'm looking at here, this is doing it run. This is doing it. No, you need to pass. You need to pass an info. You need to pass an info. The problem is the required. You see, it's you need the suggestion in the tutorial is asking us to put value instead of required, and that will fix everything. But I don't want to put value because value is an optional thing. CMD liner required list argument required known list argument. And we should put flag on it. So you see line 11, you see the empty brackets. We should put F and files in there. No, don't put the dashes. This is done automatically via the library.
But how does it know if we're following the stupid compiler convention or the more common GNU convention, which is also kind of dumb?
I think this is by default. I don't even know if you can change it. The full name is dash dash, and only the flag is a single dash. AI is not helping me. Okay, so that's a problem because that means we need to do this check ourselves if the list is empty in the main. And I hate that. I 100% hate that. Okay, so let me go to the CMD liner tests and see if they have an example of list. So pause all. Yeah, I want a pause all example that is mandatory. So how can I do that? Yeah, there's no examples of that. The only example they have is with value, which is what we're doing. Yeah, so I guess this means that we're gonna have to do the check ourselves in main. Terrible. But okay. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Oh, there is an example. Ah, awesome. Okay. Okay. That's great. Marinho, this is the line. I'm gonna send to you the line. We're gonna have to do a little bit of a massage on it. But this is the line, my friends. Here we go.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is using another way to, how should I say? When you have a module with parentheses, everything is with using the names from that namespace, right? I believe there is even a proposal in Haskell to make this happen with type classes. So you can know which bind the thing is. But it's essentially the same thing. So I just grab this line and put it in line 16 and see what happens.
Huh, this is... okay. Wait, so this is basically the same as at, no?
Well, doesn't seem to be the case. Although
But
the
it
type,
associates in a different direction, I think. GFX... F and V.
This is
Because
dollar.
the other one, yeah, because the other one assumes, yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, let's just grab this line and put it down there and see what happens. I'm a little bit curious to understand. Um, yeah, to understand. Can you put this down there?
I got it. It's basically we need to do this.
Okay, so that's it. Try to compile. Okay, awesome. That means that it worked. Remove the brackets at the end and call these files. We should have renamed it to files, don't we? Oh, we haven't. We haven't. We haven't. Okay, so that's the problem. Do that. Line 4. Great. Yeah, then you need to go to line 6. No. There's something else breaking as well there. Go to cmd .ml. Put files in there. Okay, next there. Now we're talking. Okay, so put files in 26. Yeah, not all of those, please. Actually, now you can do in all of those, but some of them are going to be wrong because we have to go one by one individually. Some functions are expecting only a single file. Yeah, they are already read, so those are the ones that are broken.
Actually, yeah, these ones can stay.
No, yeah, the run ones. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but grab the first out of this one, just for the sake of making it work. Just grab the first and call it a day. Same thing on 35. Okay, does this compile?
It does.
Okay, so try to do Dune, exec Karuta, that's it. Go. Positional argument with a name.
Amazing.
That's from the library. I don't think I've written that. I've written that. That's terrible. Dash dash help. Wait, what? So there is something very fundamental. No, this is gonna go to Dune help. We want our help. What the heck is going on with that?
I think I know why. It's because not here. CMD. Yeah, it's because of this. I'm pretty sure we shouldn't have this in this case.
Why do you think that's the case?
Because this is taking the positional arguments, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Aha! Oh, but it's shortened the message. Oh no, it's just because we listed Karuta and Sakura files. Oh, but there is a description that is misleading there. So somewhere I'm writing compile a Karuta source code, a source file, sorry. And yeah, but where are we doing compile a Karuta source file?
Yes, technically you can do this.
Yeah. There it is in line 24. I'm blind. Cool. And why is this repeated in two places? I have no idea. That's just terrible. Yeah, but put this down there as well. Probably there is a way to just use doc here. Can you try that? Instead of repeating it, just put doc. See what happens. Why didn't I do this before? That's just dumb. Yeah, I was just retarded. Okay, do the same with the run, please. Now that we are at it.
With the run.
Yeah, go to the run command that we also have. We also have run instead of compile. Do this optimization of having the doc being used in a single twice, please, because I have no idea what I was doing. Yeah, there's line 33. Just do the same, please. Thank you very much. No idea what happened there. Okay, so I think we have it. We have multiple files in the command line. We have multiple files in the command line. Now we just need to pass those multiple files to the parser. And I think after parsing multiple ones, we can finish for today. Because it's just plugging those files in anyway.
Do we actually need to do that?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah, we do, because we just
We have
basically what you're
strings.
saying is we need to do.
Go to the executor, and we're gonna change the executor to accept multiple files instead of only one file. Yeah, we're gonna change the argument back to the files in this case, and we're gonna go to the executor and change things from there. Yeah, this one probably we should keep it because this is gonna have to change the URL run function, and I don't want to touch that right now. We should put a to do to not forget, but that's fine. Yeah, I just fix the executor for today when you can call it a day. So compile is going to receive multiple things now instead of a single one, which is just a string list. And in theory, this is just doing a fold. Instead of a single pass, we need to do this pipeline for multiple file paths. Yeah, so let's just do a fold. I think that's pretty reasonable.
This would be for each, actually, no?
Oh yeah, actually for each, because we are persisting the effect doing compilation, so you're right.
Although this returns an attempt. What is that again?
It's a result with a particular hard-coded error type. You can go to definition in that. Your microphone is weird again.
Yeah, I think
Okay, now
my
it's back.
headset is my headset is kind of acting up recently.
Yeah, now it's back. Anyway, so it's just a matter of doing a for each, man. As you said yourself.
I'm kind of sad though because
it's a monadic for each.
Yeah, we need to do that.
In Haskell, that would be a map m underscore. No, you don't need to do any of this, man. We don't need to do any of that. We're gonna wrap this in a lambda, and we need to make a monadic map function. That's it. It needs to receive the file path, yeah. Okay, so do we have monadic map in OCaml? I'm gonna say that the answer is probably no. We're gonna have to write that ourselves, aren't we?
Well, there's a fast sort.
Let's see how miserable the AI can try to do this one. Yeah, this is very wrong. Okay, we're gonna have to use our brains in this one.
iter I, length.
It is an iter, but it is an iter that has monads. We should write that down, man.
There's a stable sort as well, apparently.
Yeah, but we should actually. So Hugo. It's easier to just grab the source code of mapm underscore and translate it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Source code. That's funny. It's using arrows. Uh, it's a mapm underscore, by the way, because mapm returns something. We're gonna return. Oh no, we're gonna do mapm. You're right. We're not gonna return a unit. So mapm. Mapm. Oh, this is just traverse. Uh, which is implemented in terms of. Okay, so do you want to do this the Haskell way or the naive way?
What do you mean?
Sorry?
What?
Your headset is fucked again. I think we should try to do the naive way actually. I think we should try to do the naive way. If you're speaking, well, you probably know. Oh, my Marinho is writing the monomorphized version. Really wrong with my headset at the moment.
Okay, now it's working.
Now it's working. Okay, so
All right, so you were saying the Haskell way or the OCaml way, right?
no, not the OCaml, the naive way. Actually, what you're writing is the real naive way. I would go one step further. I would make it general.
Make it general.
Yeah,
What do you even mean?
because you are doing it particularly for lists. I would not do that.
Ah, right, because this is... Do we actually need the general case?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because man, actually, let me show you what is the Haskell, how easy the Haskell way is in this case. Because I think we're gonna go with the Haskell way not only to piss the OCaml people off, but because it's easier to write. So here's the okay. So mapm in Haskell is just traverse, okay? And look at this implementation. Just take a look at it. There.
Yeah, but this assumes you have access to...
But we do have fmap because this is a result. So we can just fmap it, and that's it. And we have
No, but
compose
it
and has all
also...
the pieces.
Traverse identity and then traverse... Applicative...
Yeah, your headset is going weird again. But this is essentially this. I'm gonna write in. I'm gonna try an draft in OCaml. Sequence A. result mapf, and then sequence A, this is a let, this is an end, receives, it's literally equal to traverse fun ID. Isn't it this? Or am I tripping? Can you try to speak now? No, it's still fucked. I thought it was okay, but it's still fucked. Okay, so what is wrong? Let's read. Yeah, that is definitely, that was wrong. Wow, this kind of expression is not allowed as right-hand side of a let rec.
I think we're supposed to take one argument, right?
You are supposed to take one argument, yes. See? And then map M is just traverse.
Okay.
And in your back, by the way. Okay, so we just traverse. We just literally do traverse on with compile 1.
It's a function from A to A.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so what's the problem?
Well, it's on the screen.
This expression has type string to that, but an expression was expected of type string to string. Wait, what? What is the type of traverse? Wait, but that's wrong. Right? That is wrong. The first lambda is saying it is an A to an A. And that means that it's not we probably need to type we probably need to put the type of f on line 36. Which in this case should be something. There's also the chance that the compose function in OCaml is the other way around, because I just copy pasted from the Haskell, right? So what do we compose first? We put.
No, it's the after. F after G.
Okay, so this is equal to the Haskell code that I sent.
This is string to unit.
Okay, go to line 36. Let's put a type to f. So this is going to be a lambda that receives an A and returns a B result. No, a B attempt. Okay, so what's the problem now? This expression has type, but an expression was expected to have.
I think I see the problem. Yeah, we need to do. How do you do this? You need to do.
Yeah, this traverse expects 2 arguments, by the way. This is based on the idea of having eta reduction, But this is OCaml, and apparently no, OCaml hates eta reductions in general.
Okay, so this is polymorphic in A and B. So A, B dot. I think that's how you do it, right?
I don't remember anymore. Wait, but you're saying that this is the type of traverse. This is not the type of traverse. This is the type of F.
No, yes, but I forgot. Yeah, you actually do it like this. Okay. So this actually takes uh, this, and it also takes. It also takes. Hmm. Can we make it? I don't think we can actually. Yeah, I'm not sure if OCaml actually supports higher order polymorphism if you don't use the module system.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize the same. Because we need to be able to say that what is coming is a traversable.
Like, I doubt you can do something like this. Actually, we don't need this, right? Because this is where monomorphizing is to result, though. Does that help?
Well, actually, if we're gonna monomorphize, maybe we should monomorphize all the way because like this is using two high order types, right? It's using an applicative and a traversable. The traversable is the list in our case, and the applicative is the result. If you're gonna monomorphize, we can monomorphize all the way. Like we're not gonna have the full power, but well, OCaml doesn't like the full power. Well, actually, I
Mm,
should rephrase that. It likes the full power, but it needs the modules to go there.
yeah. Okay, this is an A to B attempt, and this takes a list of A, right?
Yeah, list of A.
And it's going to return
A B attempt.
B. Uh,
No, actually, a B, a list of no, it's a list of B attempts. No,
no, this is supposed to be just one thing.
no. That's look at the type. Look at the type signature of traverse in the chat.
Oh yeah, no, that's actually the wrong type, Lemos. It should return just a unit. Like, it should be
Oh,
a fold.
so it's you want fold them. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad. I thought you wanted the results of the each member of the thing.
It's unit. Why would I care about that?
Well, it's because it's attempt, right? Maybe some of them failed, some of them didn't, and you want to report that in a better way. Uh, well, but fold them is just fold with bind in the middle. We can write that ourselves, come on.
Mm,
No, delete the whole traverse sequence idea because this is for mapm, not fold them. Fold them is a fold that in the lambda of the body of the fold, of the founding function, we have a bind.
but that also doesn't quite do what I want because it doesn't short circuit.
No, it does. Fold them short circuits.
It does in Haskell because Haskell is lazy.
Ah, that is true. Well, in that case, I guess let's write it by hand using pattern matching and recursion.
All right. All right. I guess let compile all equals compile all. Uh, Actually, yeah, no, let me just do this. File paths, function, if it's empty, then we return okay unit. Otherwise, um, we have an F and more files. And
You're gonna have to call yourself, so don't forget to put a rec in the beginning there.
in that case, we do compile one of F, and we do the two. Actually, we should have right parser dot it.
I think that's a little bit sus that we are using a parser exclusive combinator. This probably means that it should not be a parser exclusive. Um,
That's one. No, actually, it isn't this one. It isn't this one. It is. Actually, we. So,
yeah, your headset is dying, my friend. I'm afraid to tell you. That's very sad. Yeah, I would recommend using bind as well. I don't know if you can hear me, but I would use bind. And then later we can make the combinators more global to the compiler, instead only to be the parser. You call it files. Yeah.
this doesn't seem right. Okay, what's the problem?
Break the lining function. It's hard to read.
Firewall. Unused variable. Ah, it's because this is wrong.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we have a function. What's the problem?
This function has type string list to
String list again.
result.
Ah, it's because you need to remove file paths from line 42.
I can't do that because otherwise, like I need it for the recursive case.
What? No, you don't need the file paths in named, man. You already have
Right.
them there.
All right. No, you're right.
That's it. Done build.
Let me just.
And let's try to run the plus program. Compile the plus program, I should say. Nice. Format and commit.
All right. I'll have to figure out what's going on with my headset, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should be able to add this, add this. Yeah, we're not using this, so that's fine. Um, allow accept multiple files
There's a
in
typo there.
the command.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Compiler
it.
CLI. That's better.
I'm gonna finish the recording.